Hey guys, it's Nicole. I'm back with another video, and today's video is actually going to be about a book that I ranked in my series Judging Books by Their Cover. So I don't know, I hope you all watch those videos. I love making them. They're so much fun and they're so short to watch. And if you've watched them, you know that I talk about I'm going to be looking these books up afterwards and possibly reading them. I did that with one of those books. I hope to do it with more soon. I have such a big TBR pile, so I don't know if it'll be happening that soon. But I did do this. I did end up reading one of them. So I wanted to talk about it today just a little bit, also just to tie it in with those other videos. It's not my favorite book of the year. I don't really have any issues with it. I read some reviews that some people did. But I did want to talk about it because I think there's some really great aspects to the book and I wanted to bring it up. Before I get into that though, I just wanted to say thank you to anyone who has subscribed to my channel. It means so much to me. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It costs you absolutely nothing and it would mean the world to me to know that there's people out there that want to continue seeing my content. So please do that. If you end up liking this video, please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't, and share this video with anyone that you think might enjoy it. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into the book I'm talking about. So the book we're talking about today is People Watching. I'm going to go into this hoping that you guys watch that other video. I'm going to link the video below so that you guys can go watch it if you haven't seen it. But this was actually ranked #1 on one of the installations of Judging Books by Their Cover. By me, I ranked it #1. I'm the only one that ranks the books. And I immediately loved the cover and the title. People watching is great because I enjoy people watching. Regardless of how people watching ties into this book, I love to people watch. And the cover is so gorgeous. Look at the fall colors. Look at how pretty those colors are. And since we're getting into autumn and the seasons of October and November, I thought it was also a really good time to talk about this book. And I just love the cover. It feels so nostalgic, but also just seasonal. And I love this season, so it really sticks out to me. That's why I love it so much. So that's definitely what drew me in at first. So when I went and looked it up later after I made that video, I read the back and the back definitely intrigued me. So at the top, there is a review quote. I'm not going to go over that. That's something you can look up if you're interested in. But there is a little bit of a paragraph before the blurb that says, "In this sexy and emotional romance from the acclaimed author of Out on a Limb, a small-town woman's journey to spread her wings intertwines with the arrival of an adventurous newcomer who brings out the best in her. Prudence Welch has found solace in her introverted life in Baysville, a charming tourist town in northern Ontario. Despite once dreaming of a life beyond its borders, she now finds contentment in her routines, working at her father's gas station, writing poetry, and caring for her mother, who was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's disease. But as her mother's condition worsens and her father's concerns about her own future intensify, Prue feels her world slipping further out of control. Enter Milo Kablukov, an enigmatic wanderer whose beat-up van covered with ill-advised bumper stickers rolls into town just when Prue needs a change. It's all too easy to let go with him, and their unlikely friendship leads to a wild and sexy agreement between them. Milo, a man of many adventures and countless stories, is not one to settle down. However, his brother's urgent need for help has brought him to Baysville, and now his chemistry with the intriguing Prue has given him more reason to stay, especially once casual sex lessons begin at Prue's request. But as their temporary arrangement blossoms into something deeper, Prue and Milo discover that getting out of their comfort zones is one thing. Taking that leap together is something else entirely. yeah, your typical romance that could very easily be a good romance book or a movie. It's the trope, they start getting involved, they're just like friends with benefits kind of situation, and then, oh no, shock, they both fall in love with each other. Oh, who could have seen that coming? So it's fun. It's really good. I particularly was interested in the inclusion of Prue's mother, who has Alzheimer's, especially because they don't really mention it in the blurb, and it's not really a huge spoiler, but her mother's really only in her like 40s or 50s. So she's pretty young, and not that anyone should expect Alzheimer's at any age. And it's sad no matter what, but it is sadder the younger people are when they develop Alzheimer's. So I was intrigued by that. I knew this was going to be a romance. I knew there were going to be spicy chapters, and this may be the spiciest book I have made a video about so far. So big NSFW. Just read this in a room by yourself, unless you have some weird kink to read it with someone. But yeah, that's that's neither here nor there. The point is, this is a very sexual book. There are so many words and expressions and descriptions that are very illicit. So just as a warning, not safe for children. Definitely 18 or older to read this book. But beside that, because that's a fun part. Like, I mean, you're going to read a romance, of course you're going to get involved in that aspect of the story. But I was curious about the inclusion of her mother having Alzheimer's, and Prue herself once dreaming of, you know, going elsewhere and not living in, Baysville her whole life. And I relate to that a little bit. You know, I grew up in one town, and I have lived there for so long, and am soon spreading my wings, which is the exciting thing I'll be sharing with you all soon. And I just really wanted to see what it would look like. The inclusion of wanting to care for someone that means so much to you, but also just be there for them and experience them before they're gone. So this is definitely a very emotional book and gets into some heavy, deep topics that do involve Alzheimer's, and there are some stories from Milo's background that involve abuse. So there is a trigger warning, I believe, in one of the first pages. Yeah, so there's a content warning, just as a brief little thing here. They tell you everything that happens in the book that may feel, you know, that may be sensitive for some people. So definitely read that before you read this book. There's a lot of dark topics in it, even though to me, it ends up in a feel-good place, but there's a lot of dark things that happen to get there. So definitely take that into consideration as well before you read this book. I am going to go ahead and read the first page of the first chapter, just to give a little glimpse of it in case anyone's curious as to what the book sounds like. I always like to give a little glimpse into it, and you may find it interesting and actually want to continue reading it. So each chapter goes back and forth between Milo's and Prue's perspective. I think most of the time we get Milo's perspective. Like, there's a lot of chapters that end up being Milo's perspective one after the other. And the book starts out as Milo's perspective. It starts with the chapter number and then the name of whose perspective we're reading from. So, chapter 1, Milo. Please, Bertha, baby, I am begging you, I say, tightening my hands around the shuddering steering wheel. There's not another living soul in sight, no one to witness our inevitable crash and burn if Bertha decides to call it quits and send us rolling backward down the hill. On this Muskoka back road, it's just me, Bertha, the black tar pavement under us, the gray storm clouds above us, the granite outcropping bordering either side of the road, and as always, the bobblehead Jesus on my dash. I swear to everything good and holy that if you make it over this hill, I'll never ask you for anything ever again. She sputters and I grit my teeth, waiting for the backward roll. If we make it to town, I plead, each syllable equal parts pathetic and desperate. I'll fill you up with premium fuel and let you rest for a week. The tires jolt, forcing my hands on the wheel to fight for control. Okay, 2 weeks, I promise. My beloved van's speedometer is broken, as is most of her, but the temperature gauge isn't, unfortunately. The needle is fluctuating between "you're beyond fucked" and "are you on fire yet?" Come on, old girl, don't quit on me now. Not yet. Don't you want to go home again? Though I cannot help but think that my death would probably save me from this familial obligation. Yes, there is strong language in this book. I don't know if I'll bleep that out or just leave it in. I don't know how picky YouTube gets with that stuff. But that is the first page of the book. It's good. It's really fun. I very much enjoyed reading it. There were some, I remember reading some reviews on Goodreads. There were some people who found the very closed and shy and younger, because they're like 4 years apart in age. Prue with the sexually experienced 4 years older Milo. And there were some people that had problems with that, especially because Prue makes it, she makes it clear she's never done anything like that. And there were some people that had some problems with that trope, I guess you could call it. And I could see where they're coming from, the trope of the man teaching a woman how to be sexual and it's her very first. And yeah, I could see that being problematic for some people. I didn't have a problem with it personally. I think it's definitely based on your personal experience and whether that's from your own life or from media you've consumed. But I did see some people that had some problems with it. To me, that was what people had the most problems with. The way that the author writes about the mother having Alzheimer's and the other relationships that happened in the book, I think were done really well. And other people commented on that as well. But there may be some aspects of the romance that people may have some problems with. I personally didn't have problems with them. But you can go read the reviews for yourself and decide. I mean, to me, there was nothing super problematic. I don't even think problematic in this book. I think it's just a trope that people may not like. And I tend to not like a lot of tropes, mostly because they're overdone and I'm so tired of them. But at the same time, it's just because I'm reading a lot and consuming a lot of things. And when things are overdone, it's just because you're consuming a lot of things. And so many things are repeated and taken and inspired by other things that it's like, okay, yes, this trope is overdone, but it's like people are so alike that they think of the same things and then they write similar things that they were inspired by to write, and it's all very similar. And that's just human nature. So, I think that there's a possibility that the people that complained about the trope were either tired of it or found it problematic. I personally didn't find it problematic. I would love to see what anyone else thinks. If anyone's out there that has read this book or has an opinion on the virgin and more experienced partner trope, let me know in the comments what you guys think about it. It didn't feel problematic to me. It felt like, yes, I've read this trope before a lot, but it didn't feel problematic to me. But that's just my perspective. Let me know in the comments if you guys say otherwise. I would love to hear your thoughts respectfully. I will not be replying to people that say things disrespectfully. Unless there's violent language in it, I'm not going to take them down. But I also don't have to engage with you if you're not going to be respectful. So that being said, if you have any thoughts on that, I would love to hear from you. So please comment below if you have any thoughts on that. But those are really my thoughts on the book. I don't know that I would categorize this in my top 5, maybe even my top 10, because I've read like 30 plus books already this year. So It's kind of hard to place it. Probably in the top 20 because I enjoyed so much about this book. And it definitely was a good read that I was so into it. It was hard to put it down when I had to, because I couldn't just sit down and read it I couldn't just sit down and read the entire thing in one sitting. Don't have the time for that. So to me, it's in the top 20. I think it was really good. Definitely not one of my favorites, but I still think it was really good. And I think other people would enjoy it as well, especially if you're into romance and books that really paint how important your family is. So those are the two things about this book: romance and the importance of family and being there for family. So I thought it was really good, but let me know in the comments if you guys think otherwise. But that is all for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I am very excited for the coming videos. I have lots of things planned, and I'm very excited to make them and share them with you all. So stick around, subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, I can't wait to share new things with you. And thank you all so much for being here. That being said, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.